everybody, it's Dr. Joe and Bumble Callie, and today I'm going to show you my top 7 treatments for stiff shoulders. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. So the first thing I like to do when I have stiff shoulders, and I've had a shoulder surgery before, is pendulums. Pendulums are really my favorite type of exercise or stretch for any kind of tightness or stiffness in the shoulders. So if you haven't had a surgery, if you've just had some tightness, you don't necessarily have to do this passively, but if you've had a surgery, you really want to do this where you're not actively moving your arm. So there's a difference there. So if you had a surgery, make sure and check with your doctor or physical therapist before doing any of the exercises. But all you're going to do, if it was my left shoulder that was tight and stiff, I'm just going to hang it down. And then I'm going to use my body, but I can actively move the shoulder a little bit just to make circles. So I'm just going to kind of make a circle like this going around. I probably do about 10 one way and then switch it and do 10 the other way. If that feels good, great. Sometimes what makes it feel a little bit better is if you just take a small weight and place it in your hand. This is just a soup can, usually they're about 1 pound, and so then you just do the same thing. So just kind of let your arm dangle down and then just make a little circle. Kind of use your whole body so you're not just swinging your arm, but you're using your whole body to swing and then reverse it. You can also, with the pendulums, then just do like a side to side. So again, you're still using your whole body and you're just letting that arm hang down. And the weight just kind of helps open up that joint, which usually makes it feel really, really good, and it loosens it up. So if it's stiff in there, this is a great way to kind of warm it up and get it loosened up and get some of that stiffness out of there. And then you can also kind of put one foot back and then just rock back and forth so you're doing a front to back motion as well. So I just do maybe like 10 of these. If you don't want to count, you can do 30 seconds to a minute, and you can do these a couple times a day. So then the next one is going to be using a pulley. So I'm going to set that up real quick. So again, I really like all these kind of things. Pulley systems are really great. You can buy a pulley. If you don't want to buy it, you can get like a $1 jump rope from a Dollar General store and just kind of wrap it over something. But what the pulleys do, which some of the other exercises don't, is allows you to completely relax your arms. So if my left hand, this one, was the one that was stiff, I will pull down with my right to bring it up. So see, I'm just completely relaxed and then letting the pulley do all the work, because if I was actively lifting it, you can see there would be slack in the rope. So you're just using that other side to pull it up. And so a lot of times if you can completely relax those muscles, you can get a lot more motion in there than trying to actively do it, because then sometimes those muscles go into guarding and then you have a lot more pain while you're doing it and then you don't have as much motion. So I really like these pulley systems, kind of like the pendulums. You can just do a time, so you can do 30 seconds up to a minute, and you can do it a couple different ways to do it. So you can go up this way, you can kind of turn your hand out to the side and get that abduction motion, which is sometimes a little bit tighter. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. But again, I really, really like the pulley system because it's going to allow you to do that motion passively. So then the next treatment is an active assistive range of motion with a stick. You can use PVC pipe if you have it with some pretty tape on it. You can use a broomstick. If you happen to have a cane, you can use that as well. You just want something kind of solid where you can assist the other side going up. So that's what that active assisted range of motion means. So using the stick is really nice as well, because again, then you're not doing the whole movement on its own, you're using the other side to help again. And that's really good, because if you can relax those muscles, once again, you're probably going to get more motion, because if there's some of that stiffness, that tightness in there, this is going to really help. So you can do, again, the flexion, abduction, external rotation with the stick. So the first one, if it's still my left side, I'm just kind of letting the left side go for a ride. So really, this is the motion that I'm doing with my right side, and this one's just kind of hanging on. So it's getting that free ride with the other side. But since it's active assisted, you can kind of, help it up a little bit too. But a lot of the work is being done with this side. So you might only be able to get right here, and that's fine. So when you're doing this one with the stick, I would say just do a little pause, maybe 2 to 3 second pause as high as you can get, and then come down. And then maybe just start off with 10, 1 to 2 sets a couple times a day. You can also do that abduction out to the side. A lot of times I like the little hook here, which would be something like a cane, or you can rig something up like this, because then you can kind of just hold it on the end here and then use this hand. So you're going to be pushing up this way now. And again, the arm is just kind of going along for the ride. Most of the time, I like the thumb being up, but if you just really want it to be kind of completely relaxed, it's okay to hold this way. But if your thumb is in that upward position, you're not going to impinge it quite as much. So just going up like this, again, just going as high as you comfortably can. This one might not go quite as high as that flexion, but it's a really good way to kind of get that stretch without just actively trying to lift it up on your own when it's still hurting. You can also do some external rotation if that shoulder is really stiff. You want to keep that elbow by the side, and same thing, just kind of grab onto the end or on that hook, and then you're just kind of pushing that motion out that way. Make sure you keep your elbow by the side for this one to get that true external rotation. If I'm doing this, that's not really the external rotation. You really want to kind of keep that elbow by your side and then do that push. So again, you can do a little hold there at the end, or if you want to kind of do that continuous motion to get that stiffness out of there, you can. So that really works out well. So then the next one is just going to be shoulder circles. And so it's just like it sounds. You're going to take your shoulders and make circles with it. So you really want to try and get big circles with your shoulders, kind of coming all the way up, going back and all the way down. So really getting the movement in, getting that stiffness out of there. Again, maybe just 10 one way and then reverse it back the other way. So just getting those nice big circles in there. It doesn't seem like a lot, but if you have stiff shoulders, sometimes that one is a great way to really get it loosened up. And you can do it anywhere, and it's pretty easy to do. Even if you're on your computer working, you can do some of those without even stopping. So it's a great thing. And then the next one is scapular squeezes or shoulder squeezes. So those shoulder blades in the back, you want to squeeze them inwards towards your spine. So I always tell people, imagine that somebody's got their hand on your back right in the middle on that spine, and you want to squeeze those shoulder blades back so you're almost pinching their hand. But the key is not to hunch up and squeeze, really keep it down and use those muscles. So I'm not just using my elbows to get it back there, but I'm squeezing with those muscles to get the movement. Now, you can use your elbows too for guidance. A lot of times when you're doing it for the first time, you might want to use your elbows, but make sure you're not just using your elbows, that you're using those muscles as well. So I'm going to turn so you can see where I'm really squeezing back and then coming forward. So maybe a 3 to 5 second hold with this one and then relaxing. So again, 3 to 5 seconds, maybe 5 to 10 times, a couple times throughout the day, and that should really help it out. So the next one is going to be a full stretch for your chest or your pec area. And again, all these muscles here come and attach to the shoulder. So when you have that stiffness in there, a lot of times your shoulders roll forward, and it's really important to get those stretched out. You can stretch your pec muscles in a couple different ways. You can stretch it in a corner, you can stretch it on a doorway and kind of step through. But if you don't have those options, a really easy one is just to take your hands and kind of clasp them behind your back. I know sometimes this is hard for people, so maybe if you have to hold on to something like a towel together to hold it, you can do that as well. But if you can clasp them together, you want to do that. And so what you're going to do is kind of push down and out a little bit. And while you're pushing down and out, you're going to push your chest forwards. And then you're just going to hold that stretch. And you should really feel that stretch right in here through the pec area. So this one's going to be a full stretch, 30 seconds. And then you want to do that stretch 3 times. So the last treatment is going to be table slides, or you can do them on a ball. I'm going to just sit down and kind of show you on a chair because that's easier to do in here, but it would basically be simulating you kind of sliding on a table. So for the table slides, I'm just demonstrating on the chair here because it's easier for me to do, but this is something that, a table, a countertop, a coffee table, any kind of flat surface will work. I like using a towel because it helps slide a little bit better, because again, you want it to be a pretty smooth, easy movement to get that stiffness out of the shoulder. If you use the towel, make sure that it's sliding really well. But also, when you're doing the movement, keep your thumb in an upward position. And just what that does is it opens up that shoulder so it's not in an impinged position. So if you can, try and keep that shoulder up when you do it. And then you're just going to kind of slide forward. So again, if you're at a table or a countertop, you might have a little bit more room, but still, if my shoulder is tight, I can even back up just a little bit and get some stretch in there. And see, I'm getting a pretty good stretch through that shoulder and just kind of leaning into it and then coming back. So it's just like it sounds. It's a table slide, and you can, again, do 10 at a time, couple sets of 10, a couple times a day. And you can also do different angles as well. So I'm going to turn a little bit. I'm going to use my other side just so you can see. But like if I wanted to do that abduction, so then I'm still sliding, but now I'm coming at that angle, so I'm getting that abduction motion. You can also come at an angle forwards, where you're not completely forward, you're not completely out to the side, but like a 45-degree angle, and that's called scaption. And so that's a really nice one to do as well. So you're just sliding, and the point of the table or the flat surface is, again, to kind of make it an active assisted motion, where you're not completely holding your arm up in the air getting the stretch, but you have that table or that surface to help kind of support it, so then you're not having to use all those muscles that might cause extra stiffness in there. So there you have it. Those were my top 7 treatments for stiff shoulders. If you'd like to help support my channel, make sure and click on the link up there, and don't forget to subscribe by clicking down there. Yeah, okay, all right. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon. I know that was a silly joke.